Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and I can be reached at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. If you're interested in buying a home in the Villages and you're trying to find a good deal, or you're trying to sell your home in the Villages and you're trying to maximize your return in a reasonable period of time, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. I'll be happy to help you. Every week, we take a look at the real estate market in general and the real estate market in the Villages, Florida specifically. And this week, we're going to begin by taking a look at the existing home inventory nationwide versus the total number of realtors nationwide. And looking at this graph, you can see that the number of realtors has continued to increase even as the number of homes in inventory nationwide has been dropping steadily now for the last 15 years. So let's turn our attention to what's happening in the real estate market. And we start by taking a look at interest rates, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, are one of the key factors determining the value of real estate. Here we have a zoomed in graph going back to the beginning of 2022 showing the yield on the government 10-year bond. I'm going to show you a chart in a few seconds that will show you the correlation between the government 10-year yield and mortgage rates. But you can see that we are still very close to 4% on the 10-year government bond, which equates to 7% or even slightly higher right now on the 30-year mortgage. And with that last graph in mind, this is the bank rate index of US mortgage rates, a 30-year fixed national average. The last was 7.34%. Looking at this graph, it just reinforces the thought that rates may very well be heading significantly higher. It's hard to imagine that any real estate market will be unaffected by that, even the villages real estate market. A lot of people here gain comfort from the fact that there are a lot of cash buyers here in the villages. But what they don't consider is that a lot of people who are cash buyers here are only cash buyers because they are able to sell their pre existing homes in the states that they're leaving. Those buyers are ultimately going to require mortgages, and so the thought that cash buyers predominate in the villages, I don't think is going to be as comforting as we would think. So, if rates are heading higher, what does this mean for the villages real estate market? We'll have to see. But let's turn our attention now to the villages market this week and see what's happening with real estate here. Here we take a look specifically at the villages real estate market. This is the total listings available on the market as of today, July 31st, 2023. There are currently 299 listings, down from 308 last week. Still a marked increase from the 211 listings that were in effect this time last year. Prices for all properties in the villages range from just under $175,000 to just under 2.7 million. And you can see that for the last 3 or 4 months, the number of listings here in the villages has been steadily dropping. Here we look at the median listing price per square foot for all listings in the villages currently. 258.61 is the median listing price per square foot. Small decrease from the 259.42 that we saw last week. Quite a change from the 275.48 that was in effect this time last year. And looking at this graph, it's hard not to see a steady decline. Here we look at the median time on the market for all listings, currently 59 days, small increase from the 58 days that was in effect last week, quite a big jump from the 38 days that was in effect this time last year. And looking at this graph, you can see that for the last 3 or 4 months, the median time on the market for all listings does seem to be steadily increasing. Here we take a closer look at all listings in the villages broken down by price segment. In the most active price segment, the $300,000 to $500,000 range, this week there are 193 total listings. Last week there were 200, the week before 212, the week before 214, and the week before 206. This is our last look at all listings. Here we look at how many listings have been on the market for more than 100 days. This week, 86 out of the 299 listings have been on the market for more than 100 days, 28.76% of all listings, slightly worse than the 28.57% of all listings that was in effect last week. This graph shows us the number of new listings and homes that went pending on a weekly basis. This week there are 29 new listings, up from the 24 new listings the previous week. This compares to 22 new listings for the week a year ago. The number of homes that went pending in the last 7 days is 42, compared to 47 the previous week, and up from the 30 that was in effect a year ago. Looking at this graph, you can see the blue bars are the new listings, and the amber bars are the homes that went pending. The number of new listings does seem to be decreasing for the last month and a half or so, whereas the number of homes going pending does seem to be remaining fairly constant, between 40 and 45. Here's a closer look at the new listings. They numbered 29 compared to 24 last week and 22 a year ago. Prices for the new listings ranged from just under 288,000 to just under 650,000. In the most active price segment, the $300,000 to $500,000 range, there were 20 new listings. Last week, 14. The week before, 25. The week before, 13. And the week before that, also 13. Let's turn back now to pending home sales. We take a look at the homes that went pending over the last 7 days and what the median price per square foot was on those homes. 255.32, an increase from the 251.52 that we saw the week before, and down very slightly from the 263.76 that was in effect this time last year. Here we take a look at the homes that went pending over the last 7 days to get some idea as to how long they were on the market before going pending. 34 days compared to 33 days last week, and very much increased from the 13 days that was in effect this week last year. Here's another look at the homes that went pending over the last 7 days. This graph examines what the decrease from the original listing price is for those homes that went pending. The median decrease is a 5.8% reduction from the original asking price. This is worse than the 4.8% reduction that was in effect last week, and about the same as the 5.92% reduction that was in effect this time last year. This is our last look at the pending home sales, homes that went pending over the last 7 days. 9 of the 42 went pending within 7 days of being listed, which is 21%, not quite as good as the 30% that was in effect this time last week. Now let's take a look at the homes that closed over the last 7 days. They numbered 39 compared to 41 last week and 29 a year ago. Homes that sold and closed over the last 7 days ranged in price from $274,000 to $1.2 million. It might be interesting to note that the house that sold for $1.2 million was originally listed for $1.5 million. That represents a 20% discount from the original asking price. Here we look at the homes that closed over the last 7 days to see what price per square foot was realized. The median price on the homes that closed over the last 7 days was $248 a square foot, up quite noticeably from the $242 that we saw last week, and pretty much unchanged from the median price of $254 a square foot that was in effect this time last year. This graph takes a look at the homes that closed over the last 7 days to get some idea as to how long they were on the market before going pending. They were on the market a median 34 days, big improvement from the 49 days that was in effect last week, but substantially worse than the 21 days that was in effect this time last year. And here we take a closer look at the homes that sold and closed over the last 7 days, broken down by price segment. In the most active price segment, the last 7 days saw 23 homes close. Previous 7 days, 26. 7 days prior to that, 22. 7 days prior to that, 33. And the 7 days prior to that, 30. This is our last look at the homes that closed over the last 7 days. Here we take a look at how many of those were on the market for 7 days or less before being taken off the market. 9 out of the 39 sales were on the market for 7 days or less, which is 23%, almost twice the percentage of the 12% that was in effect last week. And this just goes to show that if you have a property that's priced aggressively, here in the villages at least, there remains a lot of appetite for those homes at those prices. Here we look at all current listings to get some idea as to what percentage of them have reduced their asking price from the original listing price. 56.52% of all of the listings in the villages have reduced their asking price. This is an improvement from the 57% that was in effect last week, but quite a bit worse than the 52.5% that was in effect a year ago. And if we want to take a look at what the median decrease is for all listings, a reduction of 4.82% from the original listing price is the median change for all listings currently in the villages. This is slightly worse than the 4.38% that was in effect this time last year. So that concludes this week's look at the villages real estate market. If you're interested in buying a home in the villages and you're trying to get a good price, or you're trying to sell your home and maximize your return in a reasonable period of time, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to help you buy or sell your home or to answer any questions you have about life in the villages itself. Hope to hear from you. Take care.